Hey everybody, Chef Stu back in the kitchen again, bringing in another simple, straightforward, but unbelievably delicious recipe. And today it's finger-licking Greek lemon ribs. I mean, honestly, each one of those words sounds good on their own, don't they? So this couldn't be really more straightforward, simple ingredient list as you can see here. So let's get to it. So basic ingredients here are, we have 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. Now in this case, I didn't use fresh squeezed lemons. I actually used, the lemon juice that comes in a jar or a jug or whatever this thing is called. And that's totally okay in this application. We also have 2 teaspoons of oregano, dried oregano. We have 2 teaspoons of kosher salt or sea salt mixed with about 1.5 teaspoons of fresh cracked black pepper. We have 1 teaspoon of olive oil, and we have half of a fresh lemon cut very thinly, so sliced very thinly like that. And then of course the star of our show, we have our ribs. So pork back ribs these are, and we're actually gonna begin right off with our very first step. So as you can see, I've got them turned over with the membrane side facing me, the concave side facing me. And the very first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna remove that membrane. If you've ever had ribs where they don't taste or they're chewy at the end, chances are the person didn't remove this. So we're gonna hopefully remove this quite easily. And the first thing that I do is I identify my first bone here, and I just give it a little scrape. And you'll see it start coming back right away. And hopefully, as we scrape down that bone, we can free it up enough to grab it. And that's typically what I do, is I just work my fingers along. You can use the spoon the whole way along. You can use a knife. I've seen a number of people do it a number of different ways. And there it comes, nice off just like that. So the next stage to this, quite simply, is we are going to cut through our ribs 3/4 of the way down through using a very sharp knife. I have a fillet knife here. You could use a chef's knife, no problem. So we're essentially gonna cut right down. We don't wanna go through that skin. We don't wanna go all the way through. So we're aiming to go about 3/4 of the way through, just like that, all the way along. Okay, so now that we've got them cut, I'm gonna introduce you to the other little thing, which is what we're gonna be cooking in. So I forgot to mention right off the top that the very first thing that I did is I'm preheating my grill outside, and that's gonna be preheated to high heat for about 10 minutes to make sure that it's thoroughly heated. The second thing is, this is my dish that I'm gonna be cooking it in. So this is a double layer of tin foil. And basically we want to also have a lid, double layer of tin foil to be able to go over top at the end. Good idea to pre-measure these to make sure that they fit, which it does, so that's great. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to flip this over. Okay, so we want to flip this over and we want to dress this side here. What we're going to do is we're going to mix our oregano, our salt and our pepper, just like that. Obviously I'm not going to measure this out. Let's give it a nice little toss. And then we want to approximate about half. So it's quite a heavy dose of herbs and spices on top of there. So now that we've got this side sprinkled, we're actually going to go straight into our foil pouch, and we're going to put that side down. So flip it over, just like so. Nicely measured, almost like I meant to do that. That was great. Now next what we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle our lemon juice, starting at one end, all the way down to the other end, just like so. We are gonna place our lemon slices over top. And then we're gonna finish off with our remaining herbs and spices right on top, just like this. We're gonna drizzle with our olive oil to finish. And we're gonna place our lid on top. We're gonna crimp these down. So now that we have this all crimped up, nice and airtight, we're gonna hit the grill outside. So my grill is completely preheated here. I'm actually gonna completely turn off the side closest to the camera here. This side's gonna remain on, and then I'm just gonna place this on. So it's indirect heat right on top, right there. So there's still a lot of heat still in this grill. And once we've got this on our indirect heat here, we're gonna drop the other side down to medium. So this was at high, now we're gonna drop this down to medium heat. This is non-indirect heat, sorry, and this is gonna have medium heat over here. Close the lid, and 45 minutes later, we're gonna check it. Okay, so 45 minutes has passed, and I'm gonna just open this up carefully. So as you can see, everything is nicely cooked along here. I'm gonna just remove all of the lemon bits off to the side. and we're gonna reserve everything that's in there. And then essentially I've got this preheated over on my, and try not to use your fingers like I'm doing. We're gonna just put this directly now on the heat for 10 minutes per side to brown it up. So we'll see you back in 10 minutes. So after about 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes on each side, nice and browned all over, there you go. We're gonna put that in our little dish and we're gonna transfer it back to our cutting board. All right, so our lemon ribs, I've let them rest for a couple minutes. Anytime you take anything off the grill, you should let them rest for about 3 or 4 minutes minimum on these, especially because they're a little bit more like a grilled meat than a typical rib. So all we're gonna do, slice between each rib, just like that. Should be pretty simple because we went 3/4 of the way through already. And then just creatively around. And you may recall all of that beautiful cooking liquid and all of that beautiful lemon wedges. We're gonna put a little bit of that over top. Gonna take a couple of the cooked lemon wedges, and then we're gonna finish it off with some nice fresh lemon wedges like so, and a sprig of oregano I just happen to have in my garden. There you go.